Okay, so this question talks about completing a table of results for some coordinates to draw this graph. So we need to remember what this means. It's telling us to get the y value, we treble the x value, so in other words we times by 3 and then add 1. So that's what the rule is telling you. So basically then we're going to go through to get this value here. We're going to be doing 3 times 3 plus 1, which equals 10. 2 times 3 plus 1, which equals 7. 0 times 3 plus 1, which equals 1. And then negative 2, 3 times negative 2 plus 1, which gives us negative 5. Okay, it is a calculator question, so you could do this on your calculator, but that's what should happen. Also remember there is a pattern to this. This is known as the gradient. In other words, for every one horizontal movement, the vertical movement will go up by 3. These are going across 1 horizontally, so these numbers should go up by 3 vertically. And if we notice, each of them are going up by 3. So that's a way of checking that you've got the right answers there as well. The idea of this is it's a coordinate grid, so it will tell you, for example, that these two numbers tell you that you've got a coordinate of -3, -8, x numbers first, followed by the y numbers, and with that coordinate you can then plot the values and draw this graph. So the first one was -3, -8. Then it was -2, -5, -1, -2, 0, 1, 1, 4, students forget to actually draw the line. They plot the coordinates, but they forget that the graph is actually the line to show the rule being applied to the function. So this gives us the full marks for this question. We've drawn the graph. Ideally we're going to label it, so y equals 3x plus 1. And our check, well, we just check by just choosing one of the coordinates. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Notice other things, it goes through 1. For every 1 on the horizontal movement, we went up 3 on the vertical movement, so the gradient. So there are lots of things that we've got to learn about these graphs and what they mean. Okay, so the question goes on and says solve x equals 3x plus 1. Well, when we look at this then, to solve this, we can either recognise that this is actually very similar to the graph we just drew. We can use our method of solving equations. So if I subtract 3x from both sides, then we end up with -2x's are worth 1. And then if I divide by -2, I'll get the value of a single x, because -2 divided by -2 is +1. So that gives me +1x, and 1 divided by -2 is -1/2. Again, could do that on the calculator to check that it works. So the answer here is that x will equal -1/2. We should check that that worked, and what we do here is we check by substituting the value in. So we do 3 lots of -1/2 plus 1, so that's -1.5 plus 1, and that equals -1/2. And the other side of the equation was -1/2, so they do equal each other, so our check worked. Practice drawing graphs. So guys, this question was quite generous. They gave you a clue about filling in the coordinates. Quite often they just ask you to draw the graph itself without giving you the clue. And drawing the graph itself, you just need coordinates. So create your coordinate grid and then work out the values needed to plot, and then draw the line to finish off the actual graph. So that's a question of drawing graphs and how to do it.